There is a manhunt underway right now in Michigan. The sophomore charged with shooting up Oxford High School north of Detroit 3 days ago, he's locked up. The manhunt is for his parents. The local sheriff, the FBI, the U.S. Marshal Service, all involved. The sheriff announced the parents went missing just hours after a prosecutor said they'd be charged in that deadly shooting, 4 counts each of involuntary manslaughter. They were supposed to show up in court this afternoon, but they never did. Their lawyers say they're not on the run, but that they left town on Tuesday after the shooting for their own safety. The lawyer says they're on their way back to turn themselves in. The cops do not buy that at all. This appears to be the first time that parents of a mass shooting suspect have been charged with manslaughter. A prosecutor in Oakland County, Michigan, laying out the case against them today. Listen.
It's your duty to make sure that you don't give access to this deadly weapon to somebody that you have reason to believe is going to harm someone. It's impossible not to conclude that there was a reason to believe he was going to hurt somebody.
The prosecutor said the shooter's father, James Crumbly, seen here, bought the gun his son used for just 4 days before the shooting. The father and son were together when he bought it, according to somebody who worked at the gun store. That was Black Friday. On the same day or soon after, the prosecutor says the suspect posted this photo of the gun with the caption reading, "Just got my new beauty today." Also soon after that purchase, the suspect's mother, Jennifer Crumbly, posted on social media, "Mom and Son Day, testing out his new Christmas present." On Monday, the day before the shooting, the prosecutor says a teacher saw the student at his desk looking at ammo on his phone. So the teenager reported him to school officials. The teacher reported the student to school officials. They say they called his mom and left a voicemail. They say they followed up with an email but got no response. But she allegedly texted her son after saying, quote, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not to get caught." The next day, Tuesday, morning of the shooting, the prosecutor says a teacher found a note on the suspect's desk.
A drawing of a semi-automatic handgun pointing at the words, quote, "The thoughts won't stop, help me," end quote. In another section of the note was a drawing of a bullet with the following words above that bullet, quote, "Blood everywhere," end quote. Between the drawing of the gun and the bullet is a drawing of a person who appears to have been shot twice and bleeding. Below that figure is a drawing of a laughing emoji. Further down the drawing are the words, quote, "My life is useless," end quote. And to the right of that are the words, quote, "The world is dead," end quote.
The world is dead. The prosecutor says the teacher took a photograph of that note and reported it to school officials. She says that's when those officials brought the suspect's parents into school the morning of the shooting. The school gave the parents 48 hours, they tell us, to find him counseling. But then they sent him back to class. The DA says the parents resisted the idea that they should pull him out of school.
The notion that a parent could read those words and also know that their son had access to a deadly weapon that they gave him is unconscionable, and I think it's criminal. It is criminal.
And she says they didn't mention that weapon. Of course, police say he later came out of a bathroom at school and started firing, killed 4 of his classmates, injured 6 more, plus a teacher. NBC's Shaquille Brewster is in Oxford, Michigan tonight.
Shep, law enforcement say they have still not located the couple, even though their attorneys say they are on their way back to the state of Michigan to turn themselves in. The sheriff earlier today releasing a photo of the SUV the parents are believed to be driving, asking the public to call 911 if they see it. The sheriff expressing frustration that his office was not given a heads up about the involuntary manslaughter charges, saying if he had known ahead of time, they would have dedicated resources to keep tabs on the parents. Meanwhile, today the prosecutor revealed the parents' actions in the moments after the shooting occurred. 30 minutes after the shooting hit the news, prosecutors say the mother texted her son, quote, "Ethan, don't do it." Minutes later, the father called 911 to report the gun that he purchased a week ago on Black Friday was missing. The prosecutor was also pressed about the school's role in this shooting and was asked how it's possible that the administrators let this student return to the classroom.
I'm not going to give you a political answer, and I'm not going to cover for anybody, and I'm just going to say what I think, and that is, of course he shouldn't have gone back to that classroom. Of course he shouldn't have.
Now, no school officials have been charged in this shooting, though the district attorney's office says they are still investigating. And meanwhile, this is a community that is still grieving those 4 students who were lost in the shooting. There's another prayer vigil occurring this evening.
Shaq, thank you. Let's turn to David Henderson, civil rights attorney, CNBC contributor. Man alive. First there's the note, then there's the lack of the mention of the gun. Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald said today that gun ownership is a right, and with that comes great responsibility. Does it also come with legal responsibility if those charged didn't fire the gun?
Well, Shep, in this case, the answer is yes. And I got to be honest with you, this is the first time I've seen charges quite like this. Typically, when you think of manslaughter, you think of an unintentional killing that's connected to criminal activity. For example, someone drinks and drives and kills someone, you can get charged with manslaughter. But under Michigan law, you can be charged with manslaughter. It's called lawful act manslaughter when you didn't engage in criminal activity, but your conduct was found to be grossly negligent, meaning you showed a lack of disregard, a reckless disregard for human life.
But the prosecutor said Michigan law is, as she put it, woefully inadequate. Is she overreaching?
You know, Shep, that's an open question. I think some would say yes, but what you saw here, and she was very honest about it, she said, listen, I think that in this situation, then she corrected herself and said this conduct is criminal. Under the law, she's allowed to do this. And what it really reminds us is the reasons why prosecutors are either elected or politically appointed. It's because of prosecutorial discretion, which is what she's exercising here.
They bought him the gun. They showed pictures of the gun. At school, he wrote the note. They knew about the note, didn't say anything about the gun. What is there criminally? I mean, or does that just add to a list of things that make you go nuts?
Well, Shep, there's nothing there that's criminal. She's going to have to argue at trial that shows gross negligence, i.e. a reckless disregard for human life. That's going to be a difficult case to make. But if you watch that press conference, she knows it's a difficult case to make, and she's choosing to move forward anyway.
And what about the school officials? They saw the note and the search for the ammo in class. They didn't call the cops, and they sent the student back to class. What's their legal exposure?
Now, you know what, Shep? She left that open. It wasn't clear because she didn't divulge everything she knows about this case or what her full intentions are. But based on what you just pointed out, if you look at the circumstances that led to the parents being charged, it's hard to imagine the world where at least some of these school officials don't face some level of prosecution. But again, it's going to be very difficult to make these cases in court.
David Henderson, thank you. Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.